Let me tell you something straight up. When a man is serious about a woman, he doesn't just fall in love blindly. Men don't work like that. Men test, not because they want to play games, but because they want to know if the woman they're giving their heart to is really built for them, really ready for the life they're trying to build. See, every man has been hurt, disappointed, or misled at some point. So when he meets a woman who feels different, special, valuable, he slows down and watches. He pays attention to things most women don't even realize they're showing. A man tests your patience first, not because he wants to annoy you, but because he wants to see if you react with chaos or calm. Every man knows that life ain't always smooth. He wants a woman who can handle real pressure without falling apart or turning everything into a fight. When you show patience, when you show maturity, that tells him you don't live in drama, you live in peace. Then he tests your loyalty, not in big dramatic ways, but in subtle moments. He watches how you talk about him when he's not around. He watches how you act when other men give you attention. He listens to what you support and what you criticize. A man wants to know if you're with him only for the good times, or if you're the type of woman who stays steady even when life gets rough. Loyal women are rare, and every man knows it. A man also tests how you value yourself. This is the big one. Men fall hardest for women who respect themselves. He'll pay attention to whether you have boundaries, whether you accept disrespect, whether you let him get away with less than he should. Because here's the truth, if you don't respect yourself, he can't fully respect you either. A woman with standards is the most attractive thing in the world to a man who's ready for real love. When a man is genuinely interested in a woman, one of the first things he pays attention to is how she handles patience. This isn't about playing games or wasting time. It's about understanding what kind of spirit she carries. Men know that life brings pressure, delays, confusion, misunderstandings, and moments that don't go exactly as planned. So before a man opens his heart fully, he watches how a woman reacts to the moments that are slightly uncomfortable or uncertain. He wants to see if she can handle things with calmness or if she lets emotions take over every situation. Because a man doesn't want to build a life with someone who explodes at every inconvenience. He wants to feel safe with her energy, not nervous around it. A man may take a little longer to reply one day, or he might get busy with work and forget to update her immediately. He watches whether she instantly assumes the worst, starts an argument, or attacks him with accusations. He listens to whether she speaks from a place of trust or fear. The truth is, when a man is serious, he wants a woman who understands that not every delay is disrespect, not every pause is rejection, and not every quiet moment is a sign of losing interest. He wants to see if she reacts like a partner or like someone who creates storms out of small situations. Men value peace more than most women realize. Peace is not silence. Peace is stability, patience, and emotional control. Peace is the ability to say, all right, handle what you're dealing with. I'm here, instead of creating tension. When a woman can stay composed instead of panicking, when she can communicate instead of accusing, when she shows grace instead of anger, it tells a man that she is not only emotionally mature, but emotionally safe. And safe is everything for a man who wants real love. Sometimes he tests patience through small disagreements. Maybe he shares an opinion she doesn't agree with. Maybe he corrects her gently. Maybe he expresses a boundary. If she goes defensive immediately, shuts down, or turns the moment into a battle, he pays attention. But if she listens, if she expresses herself calmly, if she can disagree without destroying the connection, he sees that as emotional gold. Men are not afraid of disagreements, they're afraid of emotional chaos. A patient woman shows him that differences don't have to turn into war. A man also watches how patient a woman is with herself, not just with him. He observes whether she is rushed, anxious, always needing immediate answers, or whether she understands that relationships evolve naturally. When a woman moves with confidence instead of desperation, he feels drawn to her energy. A patient woman shows that she's not trying to force a relationship, she's willing to let it grow. She's not trying to control every detail, she's trusting the process. That kind of attitude tells a man she's someone he can build with. Another layer to this test is how she treats the world around her. A woman's patience shows in how she speaks to a waiter, how she handles stress at work, how she treats her family, how she reacts to setbacks, and how she deals with situations she can't control. Men notice these things closely. A woman who can remain calm in everyday life is far more attractive than a woman who only acts calm when she wants to impress him. Patience is proven over time, not in selective moments. So when a man watches how patient a woman is, he's not judging her or trying to trick her. He's trying to understand if she brings calm or if she brings chaos. He's trying to see if she adds peace to his life or if she multiplies stress. Because a man who truly wants a future knows that patience isn't just a personality trait, it's a foundation for lasting love. When a man is truly interested in a woman, one of the deepest things he pays attention to is loyalty. Not loyalty in dramatic situations or big moments, those are rare. He pays attention in the small, everyday things that reveal who she really is when no one is watching. A man who wants something real is always observing whether she is consistent, honest, and steady. He wants to know if she's the type of woman who stands with him, speaks well of him, defends him, and stays true even when it's easy not to. Because loyalty isn't proven in comfort. Loyalty is proven in the little moments that test character. A man listens closely to how a woman talks about him to other people. If he shares something personal, does she keep it private or does it become gossip? If he makes a mistake, does she shame him in front of others or does she protect his dignity? A man will notice if she talks respectfully about him behind his back, because loyalty starts in the conversations he never hears. A woman who defends him even when he isn't in the room becomes someone he feels safe opening up to. When she can hold his truth without exposing it, he sees that she values the bond they're building. He also pays attention to how she behaves around other men, not because he wants to control her. Good men aren't interested in controlling women. But he wants to know if she understands emotional loyalty, not just physical loyalty. A woman may not cheat physically, but if she entertains attention from other men, flirts for validation, or keeps options open just in case, he notices. A serious man wants a woman whose energy is committed even before the relationship has a label. He watches whether she sets boundaries naturally, not because he asks her to, but because she respects what they're building. A woman who knows how to shut doors without being asked becomes a rare kind of treasure in a man's eyes. Loyalty also shows in how she handles disagreements. When things get hard, does she fight for the connection or does she walk away easily? Does she threaten to leave every time something goes wrong or does she show that she's here to work through challenges? Men test loyalty by observing whether she's stable in tough conversations or whether she switches sides when emotions run high. A man wants a woman who is on his team, not just when things feel good, but when life gets real. Loyalty means staying grounded even in conflict, choosing the relationship even when emotions are messy. Sometimes a man tests loyalty by sharing a small vulnerability. He tells her something he doesn't tell many people. He might open up about a failure, a fear, or a past experience. Then he watches what she does with that information. If she uses it against him later, he shuts down. If she treats it lightly or carelessly, he pulls back. But if she protects that vulnerability, if she holds it gently, if she shows him that his heart is safe in her hands, he starts trusting her more deeply. Loyalty to his emotions is one of the things men value the most because it's the part of themselves they rarely show. A man also notices how loyal a woman is to her own values. It tells him everything he needs to know about how she'll treat him. If she stays consistent in her morals, keeps her promises, and stands by what she says even when no one is looking, that's real loyalty. When a woman has loyalty in her character, not just in her feelings, a man sees her as someone he can build a future with. She becomes the kind of woman he wants to protect, cherish, and commit to, not because he's testing for control, but because he's testing for something worth committing his whole heart to. When a man is serious about a woman, one of the strongest things he pays attention to is how she respects herself. Men don't fall in love with beauty alone, with sweetness alone, or with charm alone. What truly captures a man's heart is seeing a woman who values herself, who carries herself with confidence, and who refuses to accept less than she deserves. A man watches this very closely because it tells him exactly what kind of life he can build with her. Self-respect is not just a trait, it's a signal. And men read that signal loud and clear. A man notices the boundaries a woman sets. He watches whether she allows disrespect or whether she stands up for herself calmly and firmly. If she lets him talk to her any kind of way, cancel plans without explanation, disappear and return whenever he feels like it, or treat her inconsistently without saying anything, he learns something immediately. He learns that she doesn't value herself enough to demand better, and if she doesn't respect herself, he knows she won't hold him to a higher standard either. And without standards, a relationship can never grow into something real. When a woman respects herself, she teaches a man how to treat her without even raising her voice. Her energy speaks before her words do. She doesn't chase, she doesn't beg, she doesn't compete with other women. She knows her worth, and because she knows her worth, she expects to be treated with attention, honesty, and consistency. A man finds that incredibly attractive because it shows strength. It shows that she's not hoping for love out of fear, she's choosing love from a place of confidence. A man also watches how she handles herself when emotions are involved. A woman with self-respect doesn't lose herself in a man. She doesn't forget her goals, abandon her responsibilities, or shrink her dreams just to keep him close. Instead, she keeps working on her life, her mindset, her success. She doesn't let love distract her from her identity. That tells a man that she's not relying on him to feel complete. She is already whole, already grounded, already standing on her own. Men fall hard for women who bring something meaningful to the table, not financially, but emotionally and spiritually. Another thing men observe is how she responds to red flags. A woman who respects herself doesn't ignore the signs just because she's afraid of losing someone. She doesn't make excuses for bad behavior. She doesn't pretend everything is fine when it's not. She has the courage to walk away from situations that don't honor her. A man notices this strength immediately. It tells him she's not easy to manipulate. She's not someone he can play with. She's someone he must step up for. And if he's serious, he will. A man also pays attention to how she carries herself in public, not just how she dresses, but how she presents her energy. A woman with self-respect speaks with confidence. She treats people kindly but doesn't let anyone cross her boundaries. She listens carefully, chooses her words wisely, and doesn't waste time with negativity or drama. This kind of presence makes a man proud to stand beside her. It makes him feel like he's with someone who represents him well, someone who elevates him simply by being in his life. Even in early conversations, a man can sense a woman's standards. He notices if she's asking thoughtful questions, if she's observing him too, if she's evaluating whether he aligns with her values. A woman with self-respect doesn't just focus on whether the man likes her, she focuses on whether he deserves her. That mindset shifts the entire dynamic because it shows she's not looking for attention, she's looking for alignment. So when a man sees a woman who respects herself deeply and consistently, it changes everything. It makes him step up, treat her better, and think long term. Because self-respect is the foundation of how every other part of the relationship will grow. When a man is truly serious about a woman, one thing he pays very close attention to is her ambition. Not ambition in the sense of how much money she makes or what job title she holds, but ambition in the sense of who she is becoming, how she thinks, and whether she is moving forward in life. A man wants to know if the woman he chooses is someone who has direction, purpose, dreams, and goals, because a woman who is growing inspires a man to grow too. A man pays attention to whether she's satisfied with staying stuck or whether she pushes herself to become the best version of who she can be. A man watches how she spends her time. Is she productive, learning, building, improving? Or is she always caught in distractions, drama, or excuses? A woman with ambition carries herself differently. She has focus. She has discipline. She has something she is working toward. She doesn't wake up every day waiting for life to give her something. She wakes up trying to create something. That energy is powerful. A man who's ready for a serious relationship finds that energy magnetic because it means she'll bring growth, not stagnation, into his life. He also pays attention to how she talks about her future. Does she speak with hope and direction, or does she speak like she has given up on life? When a woman talks with excitement about her goals, her passions, her plans, it shows him she has vision. A man listens closely to that. He wants a woman who dreams big, because women who dream big bring a different kind of strength into a home. They bring creativity, positivity, and determination. They make life more meaningful. Ambition also shows in how she handles setbacks. A woman with ambition doesn't stay down for long. She might struggle, she might cry, she might get discouraged, but she doesn't quit. She keeps fighting, keeps trying, keeps pushing. A man notices this resilience. He sees how she responds to challenges, whether she collapses or whether she rises. This tells him everything about her character. A woman who can recover from difficulty is a woman who can handle the realities of life and love. A man also tests ambition by observing whether she takes responsibility for her life. Does she blame others for everything that goes wrong, or does she take ownership of her journey? A woman with ambition doesn't wait for someone to rescue her. She builds her own path and invites someone to walk beside her, not carry her. That tells a man she is strong, independent, and emotionally stable. She's not looking for a savior. She's looking for a partner. Another thing men notice is whether she encourages his growth too. A woman with ambition doesn't just focus on her dreams. She uplifts his dreams as well. She supports him, motivates him, pushes him, believes in him. She celebrates his wins, not compares them to hers. She helps him see greatness in himself. When a man feels that support, he feels unstoppable. A woman with ambition becomes his motivation, not his competition. He also pays attention to whether she has balance. Ambition doesn't mean being too busy for love. It means knowing how to manage life well. A woman who can chase goals, take care of herself, make time for loved ones, and still maintain emotional strength shows a level of maturity that catches a man's heart quickly. She shows she's capable of building a meaningful life, not just chasing achievements. A man also looks at how ambitious a woman is when it comes to personal growth. Is she trying to become wiser, kinder, healthier, more patient, more self-aware? Ambition isn't only about career, it's about evolving as a person. A woman who works on her mind, her attitude, her habits, and her emotional intelligence becomes incredibly attractive. She shows she's preparing herself for a healthy, successful relationship, not just waiting for one to magically happen. So when a man tests ambition, He's not judging a woman's achievements, he's observing her direction, her effort, her mindset, and her willingness to grow. A woman who keeps moving toward a better version of herself becomes the kind of woman a man wants beside him for life. When a man is truly thinking about a woman long term, one of the most important things he studies quietly, carefully, and consistently is her kindness and her character. Not the kindness she shows him when everything feels good, but the kindness she carries as a lifestyle. A man wants to know how she treats people she doesn't need, how she handles discomfort, and how she behaves when no one is watching. Because a woman's character isn't built in special moments, it's shown in the ordinary ones. And a man who wants a real future pays attention to every subtle detail of it. He notices how she speaks to waiters, cashiers, cleaners, drivers, people many overlook. A woman who treats everyone with respect, no matter their position, radiates a kind of moral beauty that can't be faked. Men feel that deeply. It tells him she has compassion, humility, and emotional intelligence. It tells him she doesn't see herself as above anyone. A woman who is kind to strangers is usually a woman who will be kind to her partner even when she's upset. A man also watches how she handles stress. Anyone can be sweet when life is easy, but real character shows when things go wrong. Does she lose control, lash out, or blame everyone around her? Or does she stay level-headed, thoughtful, and calm? A man knows that life will bring challenges, financial, emotional, family-related, or unexpected, and he wants to know if the woman by his side will make those storms heavier or lighter. When she shows grace under pressure, empathy in conflict, and understanding even when she's frustrated, that tells him she's built for real partnership. He pays attention to how she talks about other women too. Does she gossip, tear people down, and compete with everyone? Or does she speak with respect, confidence, and maturity? A woman who uplifts others instead of attacking them shows a heart that's secure, not threatened. A man values that more than most women realize, because he knows that if she constantly criticizes others, she will eventually criticize him. But if she's fair, kind, and balanced in her judgment, she will bring harmony, not conflict, into his home. A man will sometimes test kindness in subtle ways. He might share a problem he's facing not to, see if she solves it, but to see how she reacts. Does she show empathy? Does she listen? Does she try to understand his feelings? Or does she dismiss him, make it about herself, or belittle his struggle? Men don't open up easily, so when he shares something personal, he's watching closely. A woman who listens with patience and compassion becomes someone he feels safe being vulnerable with, and that kind of safety is rare. He also observes how she handles boundaries. A woman with good character doesn't manipulate, guilt trip, or try to control him. She communicates clearly, respectfully, and honestly. She doesn't use silent treatments, emotional games, or cheap tactics to get her way. She values honesty more than winning the argument. That level of integrity is powerful. It shows him she's emotionally mature, that she values the relationship more than being right, and that she understands how to nurture connection, not destroy it. A man watches how she treats his family, his friends, and even people who may not like her. A woman with a good heart tries to create peace, not drama. She doesn't insult, provoke, or compete. She gives respect even before she receives it. And that tells a man she will bring unity into his life, not division. It shows she has the emotional strength to handle complex social situations without making everything about herself. Another thing he pays attention to is how she handles success, not just her success, but his. A woman with true character celebrates his wins without jealousy. She supports his goals without comparison. She pushes him to be better without tearing him down. A man cherishes a woman who is kind enough to lift him up, not insecure enough to hold him back. So when a man studies a woman's kindness and character, he's looking at the essence of who she is. Because in the long run, beauty fades, excitement fades, fantasy fades, but character, kindness, and emotional depth are what make love last. And when he sees that in a woman, he knows he's found someone rare, someone real, someone worth giving his whole heart to.